Welcome to the map of wildlife of interest for aviation. This is a project of the Spanish Aviation Safety and Security Agency, where the main target is to provide information on the geographical distribution of wildlife that may pose some risk to both commercial and general aviation. The information has been provided both by the specific studies of the airports and by the Ministry of Environment and the Spanish autonomous communities. Next, the basic operation of the current stage of the map is shown. This stage has been carried out taking into account the considerations of public use airports. The main page has 4 sections: the Airdromes section, the Relevant Species section, the Attraction Point section, and the Mitigation Measures section. If we click on the Airdrome sections, we will be able to see the list of all the Spanish airdromes. Later we will see what happens when we click on each one. Now we're going to click on the Relevant Species section, where a list of all species with potential risk to aeronautical operations is presented. We can see that the icons on the map are highlighted when we scroll over the species list. In this sense, if an airdrome wants to know something about a species that they have to deal with, they can check where this species also appears. For example, in the case of the black crow, which occurs in all Galicia's airdromes, this species predominates there more than in the rest of the Spanish airdromes. If we click in one of the species, for example the white stork, a new window appears. Here we can see some basic data on the white stork, a small photograph of this species, and a list of airdromes where this species is present. We can also see the attraction factor in that airdrome and the behavior of the species in that airdrome. By clicking on the Attraction Points section, we can see a list of all the attraction points categories. These categories are highlighted when we scroll over them, similar to how it works in the Relevant Species section. If we click on one of them, we will access a new window that shows us a brief description of this attraction point and the list of airdromes where this attraction point is present. If we click on the Mitigation Measures section, it shows us a list of categories of measures where we also see a brief description of the actions that this measure proposes. Going back to the airdrome sections, we can see the list of all the Spanish airdromes. When we click on one of them, for example Jerez, the map zooms in on the airdrome. In this new map, we can change the base map to a satellite view, which allows us to zoom all over the map. By clicking on the attraction points of the airdrome submenu, we can also see a satellite view of the points and zoom in on one of them. For example, in this case, the Los Tojos Lagoon. We can see that in this case is a small lake. If we click on that attraction point, a new window will be displayed and it will show us a brief description of that point and also a list of the species that appear on it. We can see, for example, that in this point we find the Jello Leg Curl. In this other submenu, the one with the relevant species of the airdrome, if we click on the Jello Leg Seagull, we will have a look at the window that includes a photograph of the species, a brief description of the behavior of the species at the airport, and a brief list of its biological data. We can also notice that the Jello Leg Gull appears in the attraction point of the Los Tojos Lagoon. In the submenu of species movements, we are able to see the movements of the Jello Leg Gull in the airdrome. The mitigation measures at the Jerez airport are based on a table of the actions that are being taken on those measures. And these are the web functionalities of the map of wildlife of interest for aviation, which is currently focused on commercial aviation. There is a second stage of the map that we are currently developing, which will cover general aviation, thus expanding the range of users. Thank you very much for your attention. If you need more information, please visit the website of the Spanish Aviation Safety and Security Agency at www.seguridaдаerea.es.